So I live in a 10-story apartment building and I only pay $50 in rent. Does that make you angry? Does that make you shiver in your boots? Does that make you want to punch me in my face? I pay $50 for a 2-bedroom for my family of 6 with the help of your tax dollars. Thank you very much. Love you guys.
I made a lot of mistakes. I'm an imperfect person, just like you are, just like everybody else is. We all make mistakes, right? But do you grow and learn from those things? Because I have.
Another headline about EBT cards, food stamp cuts, and people arguing online about who deserves help. The truth is, this isn't about laziness, it's about survival. The system's stretched thin, and the people depending on it are being shamed instead of supported. If you've noticed prices getting worse, or your benefits suddenly cut, drop a comment. Let's hear how it's really hitting people, not the politicians. But anyway, let's move on to another crazy videos.
You want to know why I'm not having an aneurysm over people losing their food stamps on November 1st? Here's why.
Come grocery shop. Get that ticket. Go by faster. One of you. This what I pick, and this what he picked.
I tell you what, how about this instead? If you're on food stamps, you get a pre-selected box of meat, bread, rice, food staples, and fruits and vegetables. No more handing you a debit card filled with other people's cash for you to go load up on Oreos. The goal here is to keep you from starving because taxpayers do not need to bankroll your junk food pantry or your health problems.
Not everything has two sides, okay? Not paying for food stamps is as ugly as the mustache on my face. I'm doing this for Movember to try to raise money. The administration is denying food stamps to poor people for no good reason, just to cause pain that they think Democrats will have to own, even if they were right, even if the courts hadn't condemned their position multiple times, even if the reality of the law were not plain in the reading of the language, even if they hadn't allowed food stamps to be paid for out of the reserve fund in the first shutdown in the Trump administration, and had the agency say it could be used for that, and then change that guidance out of convenience. Even if all of the facts weren't so obvious, the reason they're denying it is malignant. And I don't know how any conservative can like it. And I don't know how anybody on the left can't see how it's not enough to just say, this sucks. Take the message that what we need is something better. Feed the poor people.
This clip doesn't waste a second. He starts with, not everything has two sides, and that's exactly what makes it powerful. No neutrality, no both sides talk. He even points out that the same government once used a reserve fund to keep food stamps flowing, then changed its mind out of convenience. That's the kind of inconsistency that makes people lose faith in the system altogether. Do you think hunger should ever be used as political leverage? Or should food access be untouchable, no matter who's in office? Let's talk about it below.
Hey y'all, I'm back with another video. It has been confirmed that they have came in agreement to open the government back up. SNAP EBT will be released immediately. You will receive back pay due to the government shutdown. So y'all go ahead and start making y'all Thanksgiving list and check them cards. Won't he do it? Won't God do it? Bye.
Trump is now bullying states for feeding their own citizens. Trump has refused to provide SNAP benefits throughout the month of November amid the government shutdown, although he was court-ordered to do so by a federal judge. And Emergency appealed that court order in order for him not to have to pay out any of the SNAP benefits, that being food stamps for American citizens to eat. So many states were providing their own funding for many of these American citizens to still eat even though federal funding was cut off. And now President Trump is sending them threatening letters, letting them know they are not allowed to provide any funding for SNAP, and they will be required to pay a fine for doing so. Yes, is now threatening states with fines for feeding their own citizens. All because the leader of this country refuses to do so. How sad and pathetic can this man get?
So I heard this lady finna get 10 to 15 years in prison for food stamp fraud. Apparently, they got proof of who is defrauding the system, and they coming to locking people up. So the ones that be on Facebook and Instagram and all that talk about how you got stamps and how you just did this and this, they're coming for you. Y'all really think that these people don't see where these food stamps is really going? You think they're just giving y'all food stamps and not keeping track? Boy, they finna do a sweep, just like for the PPP loans, just like them drops y'all was doing. A lot of people feel like just because the local police ain't catch them and, you feel me, they ain't went to jail yet, that ain't nothing gonna happen. Sometimes the government sit back and let you do 10 years worth of bad stuff and then bring that rap sheet to the state and say, yo, this is what we want. They've been doing this for 10 years. Give them 10 years. Y'all better, boy, y'all better tighten up. Y'all better tighten up. They cracking down.
People have been treating food stamp fraud like it's a game, and now reality is catching up. 10 to 15 years. That's not a rumor. That's what federal prison time actually looks like when the government decides they're done playing with you. Folks really thought they could brag online about selling stamps, doing side deals, flipping benefits, and somehow the feds weren't watching. So yeah, if you've been abusing the system, thinking it's free money with no consequences, this is your wake-up call, because the sweep is coming, and the people who thought the government wasn't keeping track are about to learn the hard way that they always were. Be honest, have you seen this happening around you? Or is the crackdown overdue? I'm curious what people are noticing in their own states.
I was just online and I seen somebody talking about how they were going to be in so much trouble because food stamps were shut down and they didn't get their $2,100 worth of food stamps this month. $2,100? I could pay 2 mortgages with $2,100. And before y'all come at me like y'all did on that last video when I said hamburger meat was cheap here, I live in rinky-dink, North Georgia, okay? My mortgage is $1,100. Now, I don't live in nothing big or fancy, but it suits me, okay? And my mortgage is $1,100. So you're telling me some people get $2,100 in food stamps? I'm completely mind blown. Like, how many kids do you have to be able to get $2,100 worth of food stamps? And, you know, they say you have to work now to get them. So, if you're working and you're getting $2,100 worth of food stamps, what are y'all eating every day? I ain't judging. I truly want to know. $2,100. I'm just, y'all let me know.
We spent $1,592 stamps. Thank you, EBT.
$1,592 in food stamps. Let's see what you spent it on. A case of apple juice. You don't need that. Processed junk food, that is breakfast food. Sugary breakfast food, toaster strudels. A box of strawberry cake for herself because she feels she deserved it. Sour cream, yeah, you didn't need to buy that. She bought 1 bag of frozen vegetables and then 1 bag of corn. Oh, instant noodles. Good choice. Sweet tea, again, you don't need that. Milk for the little ones, okay, yes, you can justify that purchase. Ew. Ham and cheese Hot Pockets? Oh my god, ew. More Hot Pockets? Gross. Brownie mix and peanut butter Ritz in the back. Family-sized box of Captain Crunch, which cereal is basically like human dog food at this point. You bought 2 boxes of Neapolitan ice cream and then bought 2 dozen worth of cupcakes because she just felt like it. There was a lot of processed food, sugary foods, like foods high in sodium. You are what you eat. I mean, you know what I mean? Honestly, be so for real.
This right here is exactly why people get angry about food stamps. Not because families need help, but because some folks treat the benefit like a junk food shopping spree. She spent over $1,500, and when you look at the cart, it's not groceries, it's chaos. Sugary drinks, toaster strudels, snack cakes, ice cream, Hot Pockets, sweet tea, cupcakes, everything except actual food. When taxpayers step in to help feed your kids, the bare minimum is acting like you actually want to feed your kids real food. People are out here stretching $200 for 2 weeks, buying rice, eggs, meat, vegetables, whatever they can make last. Meanwhile, $1,500 gets blown like it's free casino money. And then the same folks hop online talking about how the government needs to give them more. Be honest, have you seen carts like this in your store, or is this just social media craziness?
All right, you guys, I got another update as far as a few more states updates on their SNAP benefits. According to Newsweek, I know a lot of you guys are wondering when you guys are going to get your benefits, and it's taking forever as it is. According to Newsweek, each state has to make adjustments to all the cases and then request that amount to be approved, to be sent out. So it's taken forever. But some states are getting ahead. Nevada has already issued payments to its 500,000 SNAP recipients. Louisiana recipients will start to get their partial payments starting today, November 6th, okay? In Vermont, payments will start being delivered tomorrow. North Carolina has signaled payments could arrive next week if their request gets approved and the funds are released and distributed. Oh, grief. Massachusetts also says benefits will start to go out next week. So they're slowly but surely, states are able to make their adjustments and get their amounts sent out to be approved. You guys, if you're not following me, go ahead and follow me. I'm going to stay as updated on this as possible and release the information as soon as I have it. Happy Thursday.
Oh, Lord. Bye, Oreo. Bye. Okay, now. Trump said I can walk out of here without paying. I can walk out here without paying. You sure? Now Trump said I can walk out here without paying. Here you go.
Oh, you good? It's all in the bag.
All right, bye.
It's really bad.
Danielle Grant is starving.
You know, I'm trying to see if I can get some food because we literally don't have anything to eat today or tomorrow. So we're going to try to make ends meet, and we can.
Desperate for food, nowhere to go. Grant and many others got to the Hope Line today just to make an appointment to come back later in the week for food. Resources are slim, leaving 40% of Bronxites without money to feed themselves. Some still in shock.
You heard things before, but it's like, they're not going to let people starve. That's ridiculous, but it's like, no, that's literally like what's happening.
We hope the food pantries maintain open, because if they don't stay open, I really don't know what we're going to do next.
We asked people their reaction to hearing that the Trump administration will partially fund the SNAP program. People say it's not going to do much. They have families to feed and already struggled at the end of every month when they were receiving the full amount.
Wow, not enough. At least there's something to hold on, but I think everybody's going to have to get a second job.
It doesn't really last the whole month, probably like 2 or 3 weeks, and then by the last week you got to scramble to find, things.
This couple has 4 kids. The mom says pantries aren't always reliable.
They have limited supply, or by the time we get to the front of the line, then it's really nothing there. So it's hard.
She says she's holding on to faith. Meanwhile, others are worried hunger will drive crime rates up. We don't know how much money will be reloaded onto people's cards and when that will be. In Longwood, Lindsay Tanney, News.
This woman isn't online bragging or buying junk food. She's standing outside a food line trying to figure out how to feed her kids today and tomorrow. Nothing in the fridge, nowhere to go. And 40% of the Bronx is in that same situation. That's desperation created by an economy that hasn't worked for working people in years. People keep saying, just get a second job. What second job? Rent is up, groceries are up, paychecks haven't moved, and even the pantries, the last safety net, are running out of food before families even reach the front of the line. And now we're telling millions of Americans to simply figure it out. Is your city seeing the same thing? Food lines getting longer and shelves getting emptier? I want to hear what it looks like where you live.
If your food stamps just stopped working, listen to this real quick. I work at McDonald's, and most people don't even know this. McDonald's has actually been trying to help during this whole food stamps cutoff. They've been quietly giving away around $100 worth of meals through what everyone's calling the McDonald's method. There's this one lady who's come by like 8 times this week. She's already saved over $150 in meals. For everyone asking how it works, I left the full tutorial pinned on my page. Hope this helps somebody who's really trying to stretch things right now.
So I make $3,900 a year, and I do get food stamps. I get 180 in food stamps. I do live in Seattle, Washington, and I do have 2 children. I'm gonna show you what my pay stubs look like, how much I pay in taxes, how much I get monthly, and then like what my bills look like and what my budget looks like. So this is everything that I make and then everything I spend. I get paid twice a month. I get paid on the 5th and I get paid on the 20th. This was my 20th pay stub. So I made $1,762. That was my gross pay. My take-home pay was $1,597. So I paid $164 in taxes. I get paid twice a month, so on average, I make about $3,200 a month, and that definitely fluctuates between, like, if I work a little bit more, if I work a little bit less. Sometimes I miss work. Like last week, my kids were sick, so I missed like a day of work, and then like I left early a few days, so like that paycheck would look a little bit different, but for the most part, I make $3,200 a month, right? So this is how much I make a month. It's $3,200. These are the bills that I have, and then this is what I am usually left over with. So starting off, my rent is $1,620. My power is $100. My internet and my phone bill is going to be around $280. That also fluctuates. I don't know what the phone people be doing, okay? My daycare is $100, and then I spend around $100 on laundry a month. This also fluctuates. It just really depends on how much laundry I do and don't have. It costs me about $3 to wash and $3 to dry one load of laundry. And we typically have about 4 because there's 3 people in my house, and then like towels, blankets, if they wet the bed, anything like that. So this could be more money or less money. And then basic needs, same thing. It's around $150. It could be more or less. There's 3 of us. I'm talking like toilet paper, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, anything we need, like stuff like that, toothpaste, toothbrushes, cleaning supplies, anything that's like a basic need, laundry detergent, soap, whatever. That could be $200 or less. So after all those bills, I am usually left with about $850. And then this is where the money gets a little bit, this is where like the food stamps come in, okay? I typically spend about $600 a month on food. I will usually do about 2 grocery orders a month, and they come out to $200 each both times, so puts me about $400. And then I will spend about $200 more just between the month buying like fruits, vegetables, basic necessities. So I get $180 in food stamps. That's how much I get in food stamps. The total amount I budget for groceries is $600. So I spend about $400 of my money and then the $180 of the food stamps. So after the $400, I am usually left with $450 after my paycheck. This is just for my basic necessities, things that we need like day to day, my bills I have to pay to keep us going. I get left with $450 after all of the bills are paid. And then stuff that I don't consider a necessity is like Netflix subscriptions and stuff. I spend about $50 on that. So with that all, I'm left with about $400 with the month. So after everything's bought, everything's budgeted, I will have about $400 left for the month. That's $100 a week. So with that $400 is what I'm buying everything else with, like school clothes, regular clothes. I do have 2 kids. So I just had to buy my daughter a new jacket. It was like $30. So anything that they need is where that money comes from. And I feel like $400 seems like a lot, but when you break it down to like $100 a week, I feel like I spend $100 just by going outside. And I can't normally go to just like the regular grocery stores and buy stuff because I'll spend twice as much because the stores near me cost so much more money. But also with this $400 a month, my kids do have an Acorn account in their name, and I do put $5 a week in each account. So really it's about $350 is what I'm left with for the month.
This woman makes $3,900 a month, lives in Seattle, has 2 kids, and after rent, daycare, utilities, basic needs, she ends up with $400 for the whole month. That's $100 a week for everything: clothes, school stuff, emergencies, gas, life. And people wonder why she gets $180 in food stamps like she's living some luxury. $180 doesn't even cover half a week of groceries in Seattle. She still pays $400 of her own money for food. She's not living off the system. She's living off a paycheck that doesn't stretch anymore in a country where everything costs more except wages. The people screaming online about lazy welfare queens would break down if they ever saw these numbers on their own budget. How much are groceries costing in your city right now? Drop your state. Let's see where it's hitting the hardest. All right, folks, that's where we're ending today's video. If this story hit you the way it hit me, just know you're not alone. Take care of yourselves take care of your families, and don't be afraid to speak up about what you're seeing in your own community. I'll see you in the next one.